Welcome to The Pulse, where we delve deep into the issues and ideas that are shaping the future of education. I'm your host, Rick Surrency, Superintendent of the Putnam County School District, and each week we'll be talking to teachers, administrators, and other experts in the field about the latest trends, best practices, and most pressing concerns in education. Whether you're a teacher, a parent, or just someone who cares about education, this podcast is for you. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the pulse. Well, welcome back. This is Rick Surrency. I'm the superintendent of the Putnam County School District, and I'm here today with a long-time employee of the school district, and actually she and I go way back. We worked together for a number of years at Pulatka High School at that time, and Amanda Burney, welcome to the show today. And I know we're going to talk about all things CTE and college and career and all that kind of stuff, but just introduce yourself to the audience. Tell them a little bit about what you do and maybe a little bit of your background.
Okay. My name is Amanda Burney. A lot of people call me Mandy. I was born and raised right here in Pulatka. Graduated from Pulatka High School, and I just finished my 26th year with the district. I started out as an English teacher and then became a school counselor at Pulatka High. I was there about 19 years, and then I moved to the district office where I facilitated Putnam Virtual for a few years, and then COVID happened, which was very scary with Putnam Virtual. And then when we closed our schools, we made some changes, and my role changed a little bit. Now I mainly work with our AVID program and our career and technical education programs.
And I know we could probably do a whole show on AVID and all the great things from AVID and just all of our CTE programs and all that, and we may touch on some of that today. But I do know that something that's near and dear to your heart is our annual College and Career Night.
Yep.
And I know that's coming up very soon, and that's really grown into something that's huge. I mean, I can remember years ago it being just a few people there. Last year, it was wall to wall. So I'm really excited about that and just what it does for our students, just giving them the opportunity to, find other opportunities out there outside of Pulatka. So if you would, just talk to us about the College and Career Fair. I know there's a lot of information you want to share and dates and times and things that we can get ready for. So
absolutely. Yeah. This is one of our hugest events that we have in the school district each year. Last year, we probably had about 500 people in attendance. So it is a big, big event. This year, it will be on October 3rd from 6 to 7:30. I believe that's a Thursday. And we open it up to grades 7 to 12 and their families. But of course, bring your younger kids if you want to. It never hurts to start figuring out what you want to be when you grow up. And it is held at Pulatka Junior Senior High School, but it is open to everybody. In fact, we offer a school bus service from Crescent City and also from Interlachen High School. So students will be finding out that information if they haven't already. They can get with their guidance office and get permission slips for that. Parents are allowed to ride that bus. So the more the merrier. We've been doing this now for about 47 years.
Wow.
And yeah. And like you said, it has changed a lot over the years. A few years ago, we decided to not just focus on post-secondary education options, but to also invite our business and industry in our area and in our region to come. And that has been a great success because it really shows students that there are just a myriad of options out there, and not all of them necessarily mean more school. Typically, they mean more training, but some of them offer on-the-job training or apprenticeship programs and things like that. So it really gives students a huge sort of spectrum of things that are just out there for them. And it's my absolute favorite event that we have because it just shows you all of the opportunities that are out there for you. And to me, if you're a kid that comes to it, you shouldn't leave saying, I just don't know what I want to do, unless you just have so many options you don't know how to choose. So,
well, and I remember years past, I didn't realize it's been 47 years, but I can remember when it was like strictly colleges, and but now, including a lot of the area businesses and those career opportunities, I think has become huge. And we really have a huge focus on our career programs, as you well know. So I think it's really important for students to be able to walk in there and see, even military. You have some
Oh,
military
yeah,
there.
absolutely. In
And,
fact, right before I came, Air Force had sent in a RSVP, so
That's
they will
great.
be there for sure. Yeah, it is one of the things that we do. We actually start planning this right after the previous year. So at last year, after the one, I think it was in September last year, we do evaluations. Parents and families do evaluations. The college reps do evaluations. And I sit down and write a big, huge report. We have to submit that report to the Florida College Tour as well. And then I have a meeting with all of the parties that helped plan this. And we debrief. How did it go? What did we miss? And so when I start planning the next year, I take all of those notes and really put them to heart. So, for example, some requests that we had were invite more HBCUs. So that's been one of my I've tried to pinpoint some HBCUs to invite.
Historically black colleges and universities.
Yep.
Right.
And then we've had a lot of requests for CDL programs or culinary programs. Again, I try very hard to get them to come. Can't always get them to come, but I do try. So we really take that information to heart. Another thing that came out on the evaluations last year was that families wanted a food option. We have food provided for our representatives to get there. We have a hospitality room for them, but we don't typically offer food for families. So this year, I'm working with Jennifer Deloach at the high school, and she's trying to get some food trucks to come and be at the event so that families that want to snack and eat.
Outside, if I recall.
Well, we didn't have it last year. You might be thinking of something else.
I was probably thinking. I just remember a food truck being outside there at some event.
She is working on that for me, so I'm hoping to have a few food trucks there so that families that want to eat something could purchase something to eat. And so, we really take to heart the ideas we get, the suggestions we get, and we try to put them in place the next year to improve it.
If I was a student, first of all, do they get a list of all the participants that will be there prior to going?
I try to put that out. We will do a push out through our IT department so that when the kids open their computer, they'll get information. And we also will try to put that on social media. And then when they come in, we have a program that lists all the schools and other businesses and organizations that are there. And so I really try to get it out there early so that kids know who's there. In fact, on our evaluations, we had some places that didn't show up last year. And on the evaluations, it said, hey, such and such wasn't there, and you said they were going to be there. So we're working on that piece, too. We're going to do some follow-up calling just to make sure that some of the organizations are able to come. Some things pop up. But, yes, we try to put that information out there so that parents and families know who's going to be there.
Because I would think as a student, it might be a little overwhelming just to walk in there and see all that. Like, where do I start? And where are the colleges? I don't know if you have a map laid out or what, but to me, it might be good just to have something where they can kind of plan it out, because I've been there before, and it's like, it's really just so many people there, especially last year. But I know you're already planning all that, so that's great.
Yeah, we always have a layout, and this year we are working on a signage option so that you can see it above people's heads. We're not quite sure what that's going to look like yet, but we are working on that because that was something that was, asked about. I had to work on the grouping because I did group all the universities together one year, and it was so crowded in that area that a request I got from the representatives was to space them out more. So I changed that a little bit. I used to try to group them in like areas or whatever, but because some areas would get so congested, we really had to try to start separating them out.
Good idea.
And so that's kind of how I build the map now for that.
So what's kind of been some outcomes of that? I don't know if you track how well those participants are there. I'm talking about the people that offer, that set up the booths. Do they really sign up any students from Palaca High? Have you had any kind of feedback or any data showing that because they came, they've been able to recruit some of our kids?
I don't get any specific feedback necessarily from them. I think what I'm encouraged by is that typically starting in about end of May, beginning of June, schools start contacting us. Hey, we want to be part of your fair again. Hey, will you send us the information about your fair? So to me, that's kind of an indicator that, hey, they're getting a lot of good stuff out of this. They get a lot of contacts. And so that's kind of what I use to gauge it. But that's a good question. It would be nice if we got that specific kind of information that, and that might be something I suggest to the Florida College Tour.
And it might be good just for attracting our students that say, hey, we've got an X percentage return rate on students that come there.
Right.
And again, tracking that may be difficult, but anyway, anything we can do to continue to promote that, I think would be great. So,
Absolutely.
any other districts that you know of? Is that unique to Putnam County? Do you have other surrounding districts that do something like that?
So we are part of the Florida College Tour. So basically, they set up a schedule that's for all the districts in Florida. In fact, the same night of ours is Baker County, because I've had a couple places say, "Hey, I can't come because we had already RSVP'd to Baker." So. I'm not sure how they set up that schedule. Thankfully, we're in October now because we used to be we've had it the first week of school a couple of times, which was very, very hard to do. So we've I don't know if they do some kind of rotation where they move you, but we are now in October, which is nice because it gives us lots of planning time. But they kind of set the schedule and and some places have much bigger ones. I believe Jacksonville, Duval, I think theirs is held at the Prime Osborne. But they have a much bigger district, many more students to accommodate. So,
well, let me ask you this: if depending on when we run this, and I don't know what your cutoff time is, but could we put your name on the screen and your contact information?
Absolutely.
And then, if number one, if students want to reach out to you, or maybe some colleges or business, especially
local businesses. Cutoff is around September 20th. I don't know when this will be aired, but I can probably fit them in after that if it.
And we can strategically do schedule it maybe sometime before then.
But yes, we would love to have more businesses and industry in our area. We have some great ones that have already RSVP'd, like Clay Electric, Georgia Pacific. Right before I left, I had an email from Palatka Police Department. So Beck Automotive Group, we already have several that have gotten back to me. The Department of Corrections in East Palatka. But we always want more. So if you're a business or industry here in this area and you would like to be part of this, please contact me and we will get you a table and get you set up to recruit some students.
One thing I'm really proud of with our district, and not only your department, but other departments, we really thrive on partnering with our local businesses and all, because they can bring so much to the table. They can give kids opportunities and experiences that it might help them to decide what they're going to do when they graduate, because you don't want to a student graduate and then they go work something or do something in career field, and it's like, man, I never thought it'd be like that.
Yeah.
And I think it's good just to expose them to that, don't you?
Well, I'll tell you, just in my few years working in the career technical office, I've learned about industries we have here that I had no idea that they had that industry. Or if you go visit that business, you had no idea that they did those different things. I think a lot of our students just have no idea what's out there and what opportunities are available.
Any of those come to mind right now?
Well, like Veritas Steel that builds bridges. I mean, you would never believe that a little tiny town like ours is building these big, huge bridges that are all over the nation. And it's just cool to go see how they put it all together. And they have everything from people who read blueprints to people that are just welding. Not that just welding is a thing, but that are welding and actually putting the pieces together and measuring and making sure the measurements are correct. So it's just that to me is what's mind-boggling is being able to show kids there are all these options. You don't just have to be a nurse. You could be a specialty nurse. You could be, all of these other things in medical care. just making sure that they know that those things are out
Well,
there.
and coincidentally, we just announced a couple weeks ago that we are partnering now. We're one of 23 school districts to sign on in the first cohort of Space Florida, where, I mean, the space industry, can you even imagine just kids working in the space industry? So we're trying to partner with outside organizations to come in and you know, we're doing our pilot program and all that. So we're starting to get into things beyond those traditional, you know, trades and all that, which are good too. But we're trying to open up the opportunities for those jobs that may not even exist yet. So, But anyway, we have your information that we're going to have on the screen. And maybe even after all that is over, it might be good to come back, maybe bring one of those partners with you, maybe a student or two with you, and we can kind of do a follow-up podcast on what happened. So I just want to thank you for being here. And with all the stuff you have going on, I think it's really important to come here and really promote something that's been around for 47 years. We'll have to do something for the 50th anniversary, by the way.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Well, Mandy, thanks. You're a good friend, good colleague, and I just appreciate all you do for our kids in Putnam County. So we'll...
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So we look forward to seeing you at our College and Career Fair. Again, October 3rd at 7?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, thanks. And and we'll have that on the screen. And you can always contact Mandy if you want some more information. So thank you for joining, and we'll see you next time.